Hey guys, this is AC Lockyer, and this is Building a Lifestyle Business presented by SoftWash Systems. I'm AC Lockyer, your host for this podcast. And this week we're talking to somebody that's a little skunkish, a little smelly, a little got a little saying for his company. If it's covered in funk, then just call the skunk. Of course, we're talking about Jim Prom with Spray Away Soft Wash. Jim Prom has been with us here at SoftWash Systems for many, many, many years. Even before he was cleaning, he was identifying as being with us and just hanging out. It's been a great, great team member and family member, and just been with us a very long time and near and dear to our hearts. But anyhow, welcome, Jim, to the podcast.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so, I always ask people, I've got 6 questions that we go over. And I think these 6 questions really, really guide us on the point we're trying to make here, which is building a business that isn't going to drive you crazy. Remember that John Mellencamp song? I need a lover that won't drive me crazy. And so I need a business that won't drive me crazy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so we get into building these businesses and we build these things that take over our lives and drive us crazy and give us stress and make us get gray hair. It looks like you and I are losing that battle. And so you start to realize after a while, we don't want to put the cart before the horse. The end game should shape or form this thing that we're creating. And that's really what we want to talk about here. But why don't you kick us off by telling us about, not necessarily about your business. I mean, tell us where Spray Away Soft Wash is and everything else, but delve into who you are and your family and your heritage and, who is Jim Prom, who is Lisa Prom, and God has put you on this earth, and what do you guys do and what do you enjoy?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot there. I am Jim Prom. We're in southern Minnesota, close to Mankato, and we're actually looking at adding a branch in South Carolina as well. I'm married to Lisa. We've been married for, this is going to be a good one, 38 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's impressive. I don't know how that's possible because I'm only 38 to start with, so weird.
You were
We have
betrothed or something,
Right. We have 2 adult children, Ashley and Christopher, and then we have 3 grandchildren. Lydia is going to be 14 or is 14. Holy smokes. And our twin grandsons, Jackson and Uriah, are 10. So, and what we do is in the Midwest, you do a lot of family stuff, family activities, fishing, outdoor stuff. So we really try to spend as much time as we can with our grandkids. That's our why, I guess. Whatever we do is to leave a legacy for our kids and our grandchildren.
Yeah. I've seen lots of those pictures. You guys running around your 5th wheel and doing lots of family time. You can always kind of tell a lot about a person by what their social media stream looks like, what their Facebook page looks like. And you can tell if they love their wife or they love their grandkids and how much family time they spend. And so it's very evident on your Facebook profile what's important to you guys.
Yeah,
So
I always tell people that you can have fallouts in your family with parents, brothers, sisters, whatever, but your children and your grandchildren are really what we should be focusing on, because that's what's really important.
They're the number one products you will ever turn out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I've known you a long time and I know a little bit about your history, but why don't you talk about, because you've been self-employed a long time. You've also worked for other people. But tell me about your entrepreneurial journey, your heritage, the things that you've done, up until the point that you came into soft washing with SoftWash Systems. Let's save that for later, but tell us about this entrepreneurial journey and really why you wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I think my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He was a cobbler, owned a shoe shop. So I just kind of liked what I thought was the freedom that he had. He worked a lot for a little bit, but he had a lot of family time. So I guess I kind of wanted that. I started building homes in 1986 on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina.
Wow.
The economy was kind of weird in the middle of the late 80s, and there wasn't a lot of work. So my father-in-law said, hey, come down to South Carolina and you'll get a job the same day you get here. he wasn't kidding. I made a
Right.
phone call the day I got there, called the construction company, and they said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Minnesota." They said, "You're hired." So,
Because they knew you had that Midwest sensibility and work ethic.
right. Tom was from Michigan, and a couple of his guys were from Michigan, and they just liked the work ethic of the Midwest. So I had a job. And after about a week of carrying boards, he goes, "You're not a board carrier. You're a carpenter. Get some bags." And they started training me to become a carpenter.
Wow.
So that's how my carpenter journey began. I missed the seasons, so we left there after about 2 years and came back to Minnesota, where I continued pounding nails, become a foreman for a company, and then started running another company. And in the year 2000, I decided that I wanted to be able to eat too, like my boss. And I
Right.
thought I got to go on my own because he was on vacations, living in nice homes, and all those types of things. I'm like, I want a little bit of that. So
You were building
in
his lifestyle business for him.
I believe I was. He would sell the house. I would build the house. We have customers even today that say Jim built my house, even though
Wow.
I worked for somebody else. So in 2000, we actually went on and started Pro Home Builders and started that journey. And we were framing a house every 6 days.
Wow.
So, I had a crew and that's what we were doing. And we were just putting up track homes and they were starter homes, 12 to 1,500 square foot starter homes. But every 6 days we turn one over. That was a lot of work, but it paid well. It paid better than working for somebody else.
Mm.
Um, and I did that up till uh, 2010, 2012. The economy got weird again, right? We had the recession in 9. Things were slowing down. I actually ended up stopping building for a little bit, and I ran back down to Florida to run an
Right.
installation company for a friend of mine. And in 2012 was when I came to your very first SoftWash Blues. I just happened to be in the area, and I'm like, oh, I got to check this thing out.
That's funny. So you have to elaborate a little more on that. So you must have been watching soft washing or watching online or something because nobody goes, I got an extra 2 or 3 days. Let's jump online, see what kind of events are happening local to me. Oh, soft washing, that sounds interesting. I'll go there. I mean, how did
Right.
that's
How
crazy.
how how that happened was in 2008 and 2009 here, we had severe hailstorms come through. And
Yes.
like everybody in our area, 100,000 homes all got new roofs, except the ones that had trees all the way around them. They had black roofs and the trees protected them. So I'm like, what's going on? What's that black stuff? So I Google, black stuff on roofs, and guess what I found? Your video on YouTube.
Yeah.
So this was in 2009 when I saw that. And I put it in the back of my head, talked to my roofers, hey, we should look into this, but nothing ever came of it. And in 2012, when I was in Florida working down there, I must have seen the SoftWash Blue advertisement on social media or something. I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to that because I remember that video. So that's how my journey started. I knew a little bit about Blue Caps of Magma. I knew a little bit about you. It looked interesting, and I was there, so it was a no-brainer to go an hour away to come to the first SoftWash.
Hmm. Wow. And so, of course, I know a little bit about your story. I mean, we've been doing life together for it's a decade now or more. It's kind of
Right.
crazy. I remember when you had dark hair,
It was
and
blonde.
yeah, it was kind of blondish. Yeah, it was darker,
Yeah.
um, and so a lot of people don't know is that you were homeless just before that, or very, very close to that era when you came to the first Softwashapalooza.
Yeah. 2013, I was actually homeless, so I didn't make the second one.
The second one,
We
yeah.
we were losing our house, and that's why we're in Florida running a company for somebody else because we had leveraged everything. We'd paid all our debt off using our home as equity and didn't know any better to file bankruptcy. So we ended up losing our home. We paid off all our bills, but lost our home.
Hmm.
So in 2013, we were homeless for a short period of time, and we got some money scraped together from some friends and bought a house. And then I flipped that and remodeled that whole house, and now we're living in that home. But yeah, it was when you said that homeless thing, I try not to think about it because the hair stands up in my head, and it
Hmm.
just you try so hard. We own this house, we own the shop, it was our equity. We thought, well, let's do the right thing. Let's take out a home equity loan to pay down our bills, and we
Right.
ended up losing our house because we couldn't afford the house payment.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, and some people know this about my story as well, but we had a similar situation. We didn't lose our house, but we got in the same situation where we were like, hey, we got all this equity in this home. The home's going up in value. It's a really great investment. Let's take some equity out of the house to remodel the house, which we did, and and made the house real nice. And it was our forever home. We didn't really want to move. But then the economy went down in 2009 and 2010. And I just got to the point where, because of some really, really bad personal finance ideas I had in my head, hadn't taken Dave Ramsey yet, hadn't understood that stuff. I just lived too high on the hog and just accumulated a lot of debt. And when the merry-go-round stopped spinning and the cash flow wasn't happening every day, I went 5 months without paying my mortgage, and 5 months turned into 9 months, and 9 months to 12 months, and 12 months to 18 months. And we were actually one of those houses, because so many houses were getting foreclosed on back in the day. I'm like, surely somebody's going to serve me with foreclosure papers here. And we were one of those mortgages that they actually lost. I could have lived in my house probably indefinitely and not paid rent, or paid a mortgage. But my wife at that point was all stressed out, fell out of love with the house. And so we by then we had kind of gotten SoftWash Systems going, and we're getting back up on the hot top of the hill. We got income and all. And I looked at Karen and I said, well, do you want to save this house, or what do you want to do? She goes, really, I'm out of love with this house. Let's just do a quick claim deed to it and give it back to the bank and move on. Well, we got with our attorneys, and they could not find who owned our house. And it took several $1,000s with our attorneys and about 6 months to find the actual mortgage company that owned our house, because it had been bought, sold, bought, sold, bought, sold. And so we didn't end up homeless like you, but we lost our home and lost our equity in our home, and started completely over back in 2010. And then in 2011 started SoftWash Systems. And like a lot of people that are going to be listening to this podcast have gone through tough times, and those tough times sometimes are what drives us into becoming an entrepreneur, because we go, never again. I want to get control of my life. I want to handle my finances. I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to, work. I want to work for myself and make more money so I can afford the lifestyle I want to have. And so, yeah, it stands the hair up on the back of my neck too, because those were tough times back then.
right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a tough deal. It really is. But and I think that's part of my problem now, is because we lost everything and now we own everything. We pay cash for everything.
Right.
It's a scary place that you don't want to stick your neck out too far sometimes, because you think you're going to lose everything you've reaccumulated, right? So that's the tough side of losing something like that. It's a lesson you learn, but it's also makes you a little gun shy to stick your neck out and extend yourself out, even to hire employees, because you're responsible for that.
Right.
So you're always thinking about, and then I have enough work for this.
Yeah, it definitely changes. It's akin to when we were growing up, and we had our grandparents or great grandparents or people that we knew that were alive during the Great Depression and in the 20s. And we would call them depression babies or depression people, and they just had a different mentality than we did. I mean, and I'll tell you a funny story. So, my wife Karen, her grandmother, grew up in the Depression. And she was so what we would call cheap or thrifty or whatever you want to call it, that when Karen would take a bath at her house, when she'd go and spend a week with her grandma or whatever, and she'd take a bath at her house, her grandmother would say, don't pull the drain out of the tub, because her grandmother would go in and reuse the bath water after Karen.
Right.
Because they were so thrifty. And so when you go through something like we did back in 09, 010, and you lose everything, it's hard to, you may have the cash flow and the ability to go out and get a mortgage on a home, or the ability to go out and get a loan on a car, or the ability to go get an open line of credit for your company. And you would start thinking about it and your stomach like instantly gets in knots because that was such a traumatic time for us.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you come out of this period of time and you say, you come to a couple of these soft washapaloozas we were having back then, and you decide that you want to go into this soft washing business. And you're going to build something that's yours. You're going to build a business that, going back to the conditioning that we went through because of the Great Recession of the late 2009, 2010 period, building a lifestyle business means something a little different to you and I, because we really had to evaluate our lifestyles and what was important and how much debt we wanted to take and everything else. So what does building a lifestyle business, that phrase, mean to you?
Yeah. I think any business that you build allows you to live whatever lifestyle you want to live. If you want to have a $50,000 a year income and you're fine with that, you can work part-time. If you want to make $1 million a year, you can do that too. With this, you can do whatever you want to do. There is no limit. If someone wants to have a side hustle and do it on the side with their other job and keep their medical benefits or whatever, they can do that as well. For us, we live pretty lean. We live on a few $1,000s a month, so it doesn't take much for us because we own everything, own the houses, own the warehouses, own
Right.
everything. So our lifestyle goal is to have some nice property in Tennessee, between Tennessee and South Carolina somewhere, to just hang out and putz around on, you know. And I don't think we always wanted that. We always just thought we would just work till we died and live paycheck to paycheck. But with
Right.
this opportunity, we can make a year's worth of income in one weekend on some jobs, and that's no bull. Some people think, oh, it's $100 job. Well, there are some jobs out there that guys are doing $1 million jobs. It might
Right.
take them all year to do it, and you can do a $20,000 job in a weekend or a week or whatever. So the lifestyle really is whatever somebody wants it to be. If they just want to make an extra 50,000, if they're living and working for someone else and making 100 grand, they can do that. If they want to make double that, they want to make 200, they certainly can. It's just whatever you want to do, you can do that. And we're working in a 6-month season here and making a year's worth of income, easily.
So what do you do with that other 6 months?
Well, I am a general contractor too, so sometimes I'll do a remodel or something like that. But this year we actually took 4 or 5 months off and just enjoyed each other. We moved our fifth wheel down to South Carolina, and we hung out and we worked on our business, not in our business. We were working on our website. We were working on some branding down there and reaching out and trying to make some connections to have a branch down there as well. So really being able to make a full-time income part-time, you can do whatever you want. We take a lot of vacations. We spend time together. We go on motorcycle trips. We go camping with the grandkids. We probably don't work 6 months of a year anymore. We probably work less than 6 months.
Yeah, it's really incredible, because some of the jobs that you're doing, these larger, and I'm not going to, give away exactly what you're doing, but these bigger cleaning jobs that we get here at SoftWash Systems. We just signed an $84,000 one the other day, and it's going to plop right down in the middle of the summer when it's perfect, for us to fill in that gap in the summer. We walked right across the street from our office and got a six-figure post-construction cleanup. And so those big jobs do happen. And if you're somewhat in the owner operator phase, to where you guys go out and do some of the cleaning and stuff like that, and when you've kind of met your income goal for the year, you can just go out and enjoy your wife, enjoy the time that you guys have off together, enjoy that semi-retired lifestyle, and do some cool things. And that's you're of these podcasts I've done, you're the first person that has really talked about quality of life stuff. I've had entrepreneurs on They look at me and go, well, I don't know what it means to build a lifestyle business because I just want to go and take over the world and want to work, 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 work. And I don't have any hobbies and they don't have grandkids yet or anything else like that. They've got kids, but they're really not thinking in that way. How old are you now?
I accidentally turned 57 on March 7th,
Oh
so
my goodness. And
I'm not sure how
so,
that's possible because I'm pretty sure I'm 37.
yeah,
But
at least feel that way, right?
right.
And so some of us older guys, when we get on here, our perspective is a little different. And so, let's say you're talking to that 30 to 35-year-old Jim Prom, and he was getting into this business. What would you tell him?
I think I would have told him to do more sooner.
Hmm.
So when I first found you guys, I was with you guys for 4 or 5 years at SoftWash Systems without equipment. I kept coming back and people like, Jim, you cleaning it? I'm like, no, I just love you guys. I love the tribe. And I knew there was something there that was going to be for me. And I just was busy building. And then one time I said, well, let me get a used skid and start doing some of these on the side and see if I liked it. And I really enjoyed it. And I always tell people, and I don't know if people see this, but I'll hold my hand up. Construction pays here, soft washing pays here.
Mhm.
Where should I focus my time? Because hourly, a carpenter, say even we're $100 an hour carpenter, I can make $1,000 an hour washing,
Right.
you know, regularly. It's not a one-off, you know. We make $300 or $400 an hour every single time we're washing something. So carpentry pays $100 an hour. Soft washing pays 3 times that, 4 times that, 10 times that. So, I guess I would have started sooner,
Hmm.
and grown more and did more. I think that's what I would have told him. But I had worked
It's the woulda,
so
coulda,
many,
shouldas of life, you know?
yeah, I'd worked so hard for so long for other people that I was probably almost burned out by the time I found this.
Hmm.
And then I started another business on top of another business. And so burning the candle at both ends, really.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I know it is hard for you from time to time because you've got so many customers that you build so many houses that they do call you frequently and need a bathroom remodel or a kitchen remodel, and you have a hard time telling them no, but you do enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I mean, there's not really any more challenges anymore. We've kind of done everything because we built from the starter home to the multi-million-dollar homes and everything in between. And I love turning a pile of materials into something, but there's not really a challenge anymore for that. And really with this, there is still a challenge because figuring out the pricing and the sales, it's all a process. It's kind of a fun dance to do, with different people,
Hmm.
homeowners and property managers and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more fun when you're doing a bathroom model. You just go in and say, "Yep, it's 10 grand. You want to do it or not?" Whereas this is a little different. You know,
It is for sure. So, you could have done anything. You could have done another variant out of construction. You certainly could have gone to a kitchen and bath showroom and sold appliances and kitchen and bath remodels and, gone to one of those places. There's a lot of things you could have done, but somehow you got attracted to cleaning. And not a lot of people end up in cleaning. It's not a very admirable industry. A lot of times when people find out that you're pressure washing or cleaning the outside of homes, they're like, "Oh, well, that's nice. So what are you going to do when the economy turns around?"
right?
You're like in purgatory or something. If you're in the cleaning business, what did you do to get put in timeout and go to the cleaning industry? When your factory calls you back, you got to go back to work kind of a mentality.
Right.
What drew you to cleaning? I mean, why are you here?
I think I saw some of the guys that were really successful that were doing $1 million a year and said, "Well, I could do that."
Right.
I think that's what it is like, oh, this isn't just a side hustle. This can be a real lifestyle gig. This will change your life if you dive in, immerse yourself and live it, right? And be a good steward and help other people out. That's part of it too, is really helping and mentoring and coaching young guys coming up. It's a blast,
Mm.
right? So that's fun too.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's what really gets me out of bed every day, is I didn't want to go back into this industry. I had a bad family business breakup with my cleaning company. And when it was all said and done, I went broke down to my last $250. And that was part of the reason why I was in the pickle I was in back in 2009, 2010. Didn't really want team members or employees anymore. Didn't want to have a business. But I also didn't want to go to work for somebody else. But what makes this thing fun for me is working with people like you and working with other people that are licensed affiliates in our network and helping them grow their businesses and helping them achieve their life goals and dream. If I didn't have that to wake up to every day, if this was just about selling equipment and chemicals, and if it was just about money, I wouldn't do it. There just seems to be it's the people are a big part of it. And then there is this magic that happens when you go out and clean something and you soft wash it, how it just the chemicals just work and it disappears and it's very pleasing and you get that instant gratification. It is easy to get drawn into.
Right. It's super satisfying to clean something, and especially a challenge, right? That someone else couldn't clean, but you thought, oh, I can clean this. And you do, and you knock it out of the park and you blow their socks off and they're blown away. That's magical too. So when
Yeah.
you've invested the time to, learn about chemicals and cleaning, and you know that you can do something other people have not been able to do, that's awesome.
And I know you because I know you really, really well. You're a people pleaser and you like to meet people and have conversations with people. And you get to meet a lot of people in this business, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not just the ones at our events, but all across the board, there's lots of people to meet, and they're all good people, they're salt of the earth, hardworking, blue collar people. So you really want to help those type of people thrive. And I can use my experience. I tell people all the time, you can't get the 40 years of construction experience I have, but you can borrow mine.
Hmm.
So call me if you need help figuring something out. I'm here to help you guys. I want you to succeed. I want you to take years off your learning curve. And I do it all the time. My wife just shakes her head. She says, "You're helping someone again?"
You on the phone again? Sunday
I love
afternoon?
I love helping people.
But even the customers are kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the customers are from all walks of life, young kids to retired seniors to property managers to just everybody. I mean, there's no one demographic of customer either. So that's really cool. You're meeting all kinds of different people all the time with
Yeah.
different challenges.
So we did talk a little bit about why or how you found SoftWash Systems, and we went into that earlier in the call. But why did you grasp hold of SoftWash Systems and become a licensed affiliate? There's other opportunities out there to go into the cleaning industry, and there's even other people that are doing something similar to us. Why SoftWash Systems?
Well, I think I said that before, is that I really bought into you, your vision, and the tribe and the love that everyone had for each other. Now, there's not a lot of us still around that were around at the very first one, but I still talk to those guys
Right.
all the time, and so that was the thing that attracted me to you and Softwash Systems is the people, the camaraderie, the love everyone had for each other, the willingness to help each other out. When you go on different forums and boards, people aren't helping each other out. There's actually people trying to hurt people.
Right. Disinformation. Yeah.
Disinformation. They're trying to actually hurt someone because they don't want them competing with them. And it's not like that here. We all share and help and give because we want people to succeed.
Mm. So
So,
what are some of the tools and resources that you've enjoyed at SoftWash Systems?
well, the equipment's great. The chemicals are great, but your LMS, your online portal has got hundreds and hundreds of classes and documents that can take someone from zero to run a complete business in a week or a year at whatever pace they want to accelerate at.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
can
Self-paced.
dive in. Self-paced. They can learn as fast or as slow as they want to, and they can reach out for help. So that's really cool that we've got a network, we've got an online presence, and we've got all this education that anyone can dive into and get whatever they need. And then with Howard Partridge too, I use his tools and yours tools side by side to build
Hmm.
my business. So there isn't any other tool I would ever need that you and Howard don't provide.
Yeah, and of course, Howard Partridge, that's the phenomenal coaching organization. They're one of our partner companies that we have. And, one of your peers, Jim McDonough, who's a soft washer, he's become a coach in that organization and is helping other people and has actually purchased one of Howard's franchises, coaching franchises. But it's a great organization because none of us get here on our own. I mean, you could say you're a self-made man or a self-made woman, but the bottom line is we've all got mentors, we've all got coaches, we've all got people that have pitched opportunities our way or blessed us and everything. And those resources, when you're able to dovetail all the stuff that SoftWash Systems has in with the Howard Partridge phenomenal coaching organization, it's a, I wouldn't say lethal combination. It's that 1-2 punch to
Right.
success for sure.
But it does help people out because you need certain documentation for when you're hiring, when you're firing, when you're disciplining people. It's all in there. You need a safety manual. It's there. For 20 years in my construction company, I didn't have all the tools I needed. We just built and got paid. But
Right.
we weren't running contracts the way we were supposed to. We weren't doing all the legal things we were supposed to because we didn't know any better. Here, there's no excuse because everything's available for you. And if it's not, guess what? They'll develop it and get it out there for you.
Yeah, on the podcast we did last week, I was talking to Jared Reeves and we were talking about just that it was like, man, we had everything there. And he asked me, he said, how many years did it take you to develop that? And I said, how many years did it take me to develop it? We're still developing it. We're still adding to it. We're still learning new stuff. So we're 33 years in now. Getting ready. This October will be 34 years of developing this business called soft washing with SoftWash Systems. And like you said, if the resource isn't there, all you have to do is call your Shield support agent and say, hey, it would be nice if you guys had X. It goes on a list. We have a real list. And every once in a while, I jump in there and I develop some of that stuff. If it's not needed immediately, I'll pick and choose and go through and develop things at will. And sometimes if it's an immediate need, I'll stop everything I'm doing and develop the business system or develop the checklist or help with a proposal letter or whatever to make sure that gets in there. Shoot a little at the bench video. I've got 6 at the bench videos that I'm recording next week that they've put on my schedule. And so we're continuously upgrading and evolving this system, and it never stops. It never stops.
Right. And things are always changing. And as things change in the industry, if the manufacturers change a specification, how we're cleaning something, you guys are right there to change a formulation or whatever we need to do to make sure that we can still safely clean that product for that company. That's
Yeah.
really cool. You guys are on the cusp of everything that's going on all the time.
Well, thank you. So I don't know if I've ever heard you say this or not. I can imagine what it is because you and I are cut very similarly from the same cloth. But what is your end game? What are your life's goals and dreams? For guys like you and I, the sunset is a little closer than the sunrise right now. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
we're walking off into the sunset and we're looking at these retirement years and how much strength do we still have in our hands? How many years do we have left that we can do this thing? And then what's going to come down the road? What is this end game? What is the life that Jim Prom's trying to have? Tell us about where this is going now, this lifestyle business.
I think Lisa and I's lifestyle is buying some acreage in the woods and being able to just relax. We love to four wheel. We love to sit by the fire. We love to camp. So I don't think we'll build a house. We might live in our fifth wheel on some acreage somewhere, 50 to 100 acres. That's our end game. I thought it was a long way away until at the Waypoint conference, we went through the financials there. And I realized I had more assets than I thought I had.
Right.
Because we put everything down on paper, your business, your equipment, your land, your homes, and all that stuff. And I'd never done that exercise before. And I realized that
Holy crap, I'm a millionaire.
I'm a millionaire in
Yeah.
assets. And going from homeless in 2013 to 10 years later being a millionaire is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to build the business to where it's sellable in the next 7 years or whatever. And because a lot of businesses are just us, right? Even my construction company, that can't go on without me,
Right.
So and I just talked with my sales guy the other day. I said, all of the construction companies I know, they're all supported by themselves. They would never go if they got hit by a bus, they would close tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 months
So
maximum, the business would be out. Yeah.
right. And so we want to build something that is scaled to a point where someone would want to buy it, right? So we've created the brand and we're creating all the tools and all the booklets and everything possible with your help and Howard's help so that we can have something that we could potentially sell to add to part of our retirement, And then I would probably, in semi-retired, either do sales for another soft wash company or coach and mentor people, because I really enjoy that.
So you know what, you and I are very, very similar. So my wife and I, we found it a little too late. I mean, literally, we were a day away from possibly being able to put a bid on this piece of property. But we found 26 acres on a lake, um, beautiful oak trees on it. Pulled on the property. It went up to a hill that was a nice little hill that overlooked the lake where a house pad could be and everything. And it had this right at the front of the property, almost immediately as you came through the gate. It had this nice little grove of oak trees there. And the oak trees were all tall enough that it would be very easy to go in there and put 5 or 6 RV slots and have like a little campground there and everything. And I looked at Karen and I said, that's where Jim and Lisa are going to stay when they come down to visit us.
Right.
Because that's what I want. I just want, a piece of property where, I can, feed the deer and watch the birds and, sit and look at the lake and go fishing in my lake and, and just enjoy my life. I don't really have any big, huge aspirations. And I think the older we get, some of those big, huge, I was 18 years old. I wanted to be the lead singer in Whitesnake, and that didn't work out. I mean, Dave Coverdale is actually leaving the band and they may turn it into a legacy band. So if they hold auditions, I may just go just to say I auditioned for Whitesnake. But I was 18 years old. I wanted to be a lead singer in a heavy metal rock and roll band. And it's just amazing how your life and your perspective and, the priorities change and all. And, just to be able to have a business that supports you, that's the lifestyle business. It supported me. And then it was enough of an asset that when I got to the end and it didn't need to support me anymore, I could sell it and pass it to the next person, get my equity back out of it, and it would be enough money to last me for the rest of my life. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. That's exactly right where we're at. It's
Yeah.
very similar. We bought a couple acres that we thought we'd turn into a campground. So it's funny that you mentioned that because that 1 acre that my shop and office sit on, we bought 2 acres behind it. And I'm like, I could put 20, 30 camper slips there.
Right.
But I might build 6 or 8 cottages there instead, 1,000 square foot homes. And then I'll own them all. And then that $1 million worth of real estate would be a retirement as
Yeah.
well.
Man, we're so alike because on this 26 acres in the front, I was going to have the grove where the RV park was. And then I was going to have a road that loops all the way around the property. And on the back side of the property, I was going to put little, like 600-700 square foot cabins. So when people came to stay with us, because when people come to stay with you, it's nice to put them in your house. But sometimes people want a little privacy, and, put 5 or 6 cabins back there to where people could park their car next to them and stay in them and, and have a big pole barn there. We can have barbecues and everything else. So I don't know. Maybe we just need to pull our money together and just start a big old commune somewhere and buy a huge, like 100 acres or something like that.
I've talked to people about that before, a half a dozen people going together on $1 million piece of property.
Yeah.
And then, if you ever wanted to sell out, you'd have to come to the group and say, hey, I want to sell to Tom. And we'd have to vet Tom because we don't know if we want to live with Tom.
Right, I don't want to live with Tom.
Or the group gets to buy your piece back. I always thought that'd be a good thing because when you look at these $1 million to $6 million properties that are amazing and 5,000 acres, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But really, if you had 50 acres, you'd have all the property you'd ever need.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed this piece of property because it was 26 acres, almost 27 acres on a lake, nice little elevated spot on it and everything else. Beautiful, back in the middle of the woods. And it was only $350,000. So I was like, but oh well, there will be something else. God just didn't want me at that particular place. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Yep.
he wanted you to see what you're supposed to be looking for, but wasn't wanting you to have that piece of property.
Well, yeah. So, hey, man, this has been great. I love you and Lisa. You guys are awesome. And, we don't spend enough time together. We got to spend more time together. And we've really enjoyed you being part of SoftWash Systems. But I hope one day if you ever do sell this business, our friendship will continue because we're very much alike and we have a lot in common.
Yeah, I think it always will. And then the one thing we have in common is both of our wives like to cook. And Miss Karen is willing to share her recipes. And our meatloaf is now Miss Karen's meatloaf. That's all we ever make because it's so good.
It's awesome.
So, and I think that's a big thing. Lisa loves to cook. Karen loves to cook. We love to hang out, and when we can get down and spend time with you guys, it's always a good time. It's really never about business. It's more about family. Right?
Yeah. So and torturing fish. We like to torture fish.
Right. So many times we get together for dinner with someone in our industry, construction or software, all you guys want to do is talk about work. What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's really nice. We can just sit down and talk about family and relationships and goals and food.
Well, hopefully here. How many grandkids are you up to now?
We have 3, and I think that's all we're going to have because my son, he doesn't plan on having any children. So my daughter has 3.
Well, AJ finally got married back in February. So we're hoping and praying that we're going to get a grandkid here soon because, we've got too many of our friends that have grandkids and we're like, dude, what's going on here? So hopefully we'll get some grandkids here soon. And but then we get to talk about our grandkids and that's fun.
Yeah. And grandkids are amazing. I always tell people, I said, if you can figure it out, skip kids and go right to grandkids.
Right.
Because they're amazing. I'm not sure how you do it. Not sure how you do it, but it's my best piece of advice because it's a completely different kind of love. And you'll know when you have that first grandchild, you see them the first time, you're going to call me and go, I didn't know what you're talking about.
But I get it now.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's completely different. People that, you want to sugar them up and send them home. No, it has nothing to do with that. They just want to sit on your lap and watch a movie, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
To spend every moment you can before they become teens and they want to spend less time.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be awesome because you're gonna take them fishing. You're gonna be that grandpa that takes them fishing every weekend.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jim, thank you so much for being on with us on the podcast here. And we appreciate you guys so much. And hey, listen, guys, make sure that you like us, you share us, you go ahead and like our YouTube channel, our different podcast channel, and make sure that you subscribe so that you can get these every week. We release 48 of these a year, and it's always going to be a different story with somebody else that's talking about their lifestyle business and how they got there, just like Jim here. Hey, thanks, Jim.
I appreciate it. Thanks for spending time with me.
All right, guys. And as always, I'm AC Lockyer with SoftWash Systems. Go forth and prosper.